tiny shred of wood grain embedded in it, a piece of the actual cross on which Jesus was crucified. So does it get more Catholic? No. Okay, so for someone so Catholic, it still strikes me as funny that during the holiday season of 1980, all I wanted for Christmas was to be Damien Thorne from the Omen movies. Basically the most Catholic boy in the United States, see my wings and my hat, wanted desperately to be the son of Satan. Damien definitely was not a holy infant so tender and mild. Until the early 80s when VCRs came around, the only way you could see a movie was in a theater or if it aired on TV, which in my house consisted of 4 channels. When The Omen played for the first time on TV during Halloween, I was 9. I watched it salivating. I loved every sinister minute. The wailing Gregorian music that you just heard, the Catholic themes, and most of all Damien himself, who looked eerily like me, right down to the haircut. He looked especially like me in the sequel film, Damien Omen 2, which they aired the next night, by the way, on TV. Maybe Damien Omen was my first crush, I don't know, but I was instantly and totally obsessed with Damien. I wanted to be pals with him, or better yet, even be him. After watching The Omen, I checked my scalp to see if there was a 666 birthmark like Damien on there. What if I was him? I was really hoping it could be there somewhere. When I met people in local shops in my hometown, I told them my last name was Thorne. And I faked a British accent, and they believed it. It was very exciting. What a victorious feeling. In my class, there was this mentally challenged boy, and I told him I was Damien Thorne. And I showed the picture from the newspaper of the actor who played him, who looked a bit like me. And the mentally challenged boy believed it, and I felt so triumphant.
Terrible.
Isn't that terrible? I know. My 5th grade class was given an assignment to write a paper about something that we wanted for Christmas. My classmates wrote about wanting a puppy or a pony. I wrote mine on The Omen Part 1 and 2, and how I badly wanted to see them again, and so that I could find more clues to my true identity. I received an A! Oh my gosh. As a result of my Omen obsession, I was probably the only 9-year-old in the country who was a wild Gregory Peck fan. In The Omen, the great Gregory Peck played the adopted father of Damien, not the real father of Damien, who of course was Satan. Much like in the Catholic religion, Joseph is the earthly father to Jesus, but Jesus' real father is God. That Christmas, I made a clay nativity scene with baby Jesus in the manger looking Damien-esque, and the father and mother taking on the faces of Gregory Peck and Lee Remick, who were the appointed human mother and father of Damien. Well, not Damien's real mother, which of course was a jackal, if you remember the movie, which I never quite understood. I mean, the devil had sex with the jackal and gave birth to this little boy who looked like me. So in my Omen nativity set, I made a jackal and Rottweilers around Damien's crib instead of sheeps and donkeys. Instead of the angel, I had Mrs. Baylock, you know, the demonic nanny. And you're all gonna have to see this movie now, if you've never seen it. I'm serious, Google it. Anyway, shockingly, my parents thought nothing of my Omen nativity set. My mother just said, "You got the Gregory Peck's likeness really good in that face." So in Damien Omen 2, Damien's parents were played by William Holden and Lee Grant. I thought it was cool that both of Damien's mothers in Omen 1 and 2 were both played by actresses named Lee Remick and Lee Grant. Around that time, whenever I answered the phone, people thought I was my mother because my voice hadn't really changed. I was a 10-year-old boy who sounded just like her. So I'd answer the phone, hello, and I'd always hear, Joanne, how are you? I would say, it's not Joanne, it's Lee. Let me get Joanne. Oh, I was disturbed, I think. I don't know. I remember really liking how the name Lee could be either a guy or a girl. It made me feel so mysterious. And, yes, so do you remember that scene in The Omen where Damien has this conniption because his parents take him to church? So he gets ill and starts convulsing because, of course, he's physically allergic to the house of God. And it occurred to me that if I go to church every Sunday with my parents growing up, and I never got ill, and I never convulsed. And this is completely at odds with my wanting to be Damien. Until one Sunday, oh my gosh, it was so exciting. I was sitting in the church pew with my mom, and we were saying the Apostles' Creed. We believe in one God, the Father, the Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, blah, blah, blah. I looked at the statues of all the mournful saints, and I started to feel queasy, and I thought, this is it. It's happening. I said to my mom, I need to get fresh air. I must leave this church. Something in this church is making me ill. She said, of course, go outside and get fresh air. I felt triumphant. I ran outside and the sky grew black over the church. A hellstorm was coming. I thought, yes, I'm making everything dark. Of course I am. I'm Damien. I walked to the church's garden, and in my path was this huge branch that fell from a tree. I can remember this like it was yesterday. This giant branch. And I just looked at this, and I said, I am Damien, and with my powers you will move from my path. And then a gust of wind moved it from my path. I swear I'm not making this up. It was so amazing. I was so excited. I imagined a church lady jumping from the steeple shouting, it's all for you, Xaque. Remember, it's all for you, Damien. She kills herself. So I thought, don't mess with me, you know? I just moved that branch or something. If you mess with me, you die. You know, you mess with Damien, you die. So I thought it was cool that most of the deaths in the Omen were not actually Damien's doing. If the unseen demons didn't like someone near him, they'd be plucked off in a gruesome way. But unlike other horror movie villains, Damien's hands stayed really clean. Horrific murders? What horrific murders? Growing up, I had two neighborhood friends, Megan and Nia. Oh, I can't believe I'm telling you this right now. This is so embarrassing, but juicy. And they lived on opposite sides of my house. Megan and Nia, remember that. They both loved me. I mean, they were like wild about me, but they hated each other. And if Nia was at my house, Megan wouldn't come by and vice versa. One day, they still hate each other. It's crazy. People, oh my lord. One day, at the height of my Omen obsession, I remember thinking, wouldn't it be marvelous if they had a knockdown, drag-out fight to the death? I wonder who would live. Well, guess what? My wish came true. They had a huge knockdown, drag-out fight over me in a park near my house. Neither died, but it was a nasty fight in a big snowstorm. Scraping of skin, kicking, rocks being thrown, mud being, hair pulled, smashed, falling down, mud, blood. I remember the saying, fight like a girl. Well, this fight was more brutal than any guy fight I've ever seen. Girls fight dirty. Fight like a girl? No, thank you. Oh my God. Watching Nia and Megan kick the living hell out of each other, I thought, fighting like a girl is so brutal and entertaining. Oh my God. I actually took some pleasure thinking I caused it. And just then I was like, ooh, I'm like Damien, no blood on my hands. I'm just watching this. So as a good Catholic boy, I was in confession the next day, confiding in the priest about the twisted joy that my friend's bloody battle brought me. The priest said, heaven can still be yours, my son, if you sleep with rosaries under your pillow for 6 months. So I did, a pile of them. I had so many rosaries under my pillow, it was kind of uncomfortable for my head. But because at the end of the day, I really wanted heaven more than hell. Looking back, I was so taken with Damien Thorne because he was the perfect counterpoint to my Catholic upbringing. Eventually, as the years wore on, I realized I wasn't Lucifer's spawn, which was ultimately a very predictable and disappointing realization. But thinking I might be Damien gave me a boost of confidence as I entered my teen years. So thank you, Hollywood, for your Omen movies and for putting a little Satan in my silent night, holy night. All is calm, all is bright. That's my childhood.